As long as we obey the laws of physics, then we'll be fine.
Number 10. Avoiding the rolling gas truck. Fast and Furious.
Everyone in position.
I thought we'd be robbing banks by now.
When we saw a film begin with characters stealing gas, it felt like the series was going back to its relatively more grounded thieving roots. But everything changed after the heist went south. After the gas truck turns over, one of its tanks starts rolling towards Dom. He coolly waits for the perfect window and drives under it.
Dom?
Unfortunately for Dom, it's unlikely that something that was estimated to be thousands of pounds would achieve the bounce needed for him to make it under. And according to physicist Deandra Leslie Pilecki, the tanker would have been closer to the ground by the time he moved. Seeing Dom abandon his car and take his chances on foot might have actually been a bit easier to swallow.
Finally had a good run. Time for you to go do your own thing.
Number 9. Jumping the yacht. Too fast, too furious.
Boat, car, boat. You're not gonna do what I think you're gonna do. Yeah, I think so.
The second movie in the franchise contains a few stunts that push the boundaries of reality. However, the most over-the-top sequence took place near the water. When Brian races to save his ally Monica from a villain's yacht, he hits a jump that takes his car from the shore to the boats.
Oh, Brian, you crazy, man! What the hell you doing?
Even if he got fast enough to stay airborne, the angle of his car would rob him of some of the crucial speed he needed. Brian would have had to been able to see the future to know when exactly to launch himself and Roman so that they perfectly landed onto the yacht. To give the movie credit, it does acknowledge the characters wouldn't walk away unscathed from a 1 in a million landing.
I think I broke my arm, man.
Number 8. Catching Letty. Fast and Furious 6.
Here's your girl. And your happy ending.
At a time where Letty was struggling with amnesia, a scene forgot to check the physics of landings. While she's standing atop a moving tank, Dom realizes that an impromptu anchor attached to the vehicle will send her flying. He then manages to crash his car at the perfect spot to launch himself into the air to reach her. Although we can ignore how improbable it was for Dom to grab Letty in midair, the landing is harder to ignore. At the speed he was moving, he should have at least crashed right through the windshield he landed on. The scene would have ended up with a lot more broken glass instead of longing looks. Even Letty herself couldn't help but point out how lucky the duo was.
How did you know that there would be a car there to break our fall?
I didn't.
Number 7. Keeping a submarine in a race. The fate of the furious.
The torpedoes missed. They're gonna reach the lock before the sub does.
The hell they are. Get ready for this.
Watching Cypher's sub chase Dom's crew made for a compelling action sequence. However, it should have been a lot shorter. Submarines typically move near 40 miles per hour when underwater. Once they get to the surface, they tend to move under half that speed. Although the cars aren't going to hit high speeds on ice without spinning out, experts estimate they could reach around 50 miles per hour. That means that Cypher's chances of getting the submarine to catch up and move underneath them were a lot lower than the movie made it appear.
The sub's too close. We ain't making it to the gate in time.
We're just gonna let her get away.
Not if I know Dom.
The villain would have been better off just lobbing torpedoes at them constantly. Then again, since it's a world where Hobbs can deflect incoming weapons and Dom can redirect heat seekers, that play would have failed too. Number 6. Making a car fly. Furious 7.
Time to unleash the beast.
One of Dom's most greatest car escapes would have struggled to get off the ground. When the hero needed to get away from a murderous Shaw while in a skyscraper, he made several sharp turns. Dom eventually threw caution and the car to the wind by driving his car through a skyscraper window.
Cars don't fly! Cars don't fly!
Multiple experts suggest that Dom could have made the jump to the adjoining building if he was going much faster. Since he had to turn multiple times to avoid Shaw, he would have likely lost the necessary speed to make the jump. The car would have realistically fell short and plummeted straight down. It's definitely a miracle that Dom rolled away from that incident and safely reached the ground.
You steal the host's car. You jump it between two buildings.
Actually, it was 3 buildings.
Oh!
Number 5. Swiftly stealing the safe. Fast 5.
We don't sneak. Only thing he cares about is his money. We pull that, we pull him.
Sorry, but we have to address the vault-sized elephant in the room. Dom and Brian aim to speed away with a money-filled safe to get back at a crime lord. However, the vault and its contents are estimated to weigh over 30,000 pounds. Although their vehicles come in at over 4,000 pounds together, they don't have enough horsepower to pull the safe as fast as they do in the movie. And every time they hit something, they'd slow down even more. Given that the vault collides with a lot of the city, their pursuers should have easily been able to outspeed the heroes, and Dom's solo stint with the safe would not have gone so well for him.
You cut this right now!
Number 4. Holding a helicopter. Hobbs and Shaw.
You get us close and I'll get her! I'll keep his nose down! You reeling me!
To say Luke Hobbs is strong would be an understatement. The man has been able to flex through a cast and knock around multiple armed guards without any issue. However, Hobbs only showed how absurd his muscles really were in his spin-off film. When a chain that's keeping a helicopter tethered to a truck comes loose, he steps in and holds everything in place himself. Hobbs then secures the chain once more while moving at high speeds. While some science is actually in his favor here, some fans found it hard to see him replicate a stunt that Captain America pulled off. It's also a bit jarring that the movie's superhuman villain wasn't the one who accomplished this tremendous feat of strength.
I thought you were strong.
Number 3. Mixing up how magnets work. F9.
There is literally zero industrial or weapons-grade electromagnets I can find that are this powerful.
Once Dom's crew gets their hands on high-powered magnets, they use their new toys to pull off all sorts of cool maneuvers. In the real world, they would hit a roadblock as soon as they tried to put them in their cars. It's unlikely each vehicle could generate enough power to pull appliances and large objects. And even if the crew got their hands on a reliable mobile magnet, they wouldn't have been able to pull a car through a building without pulling tons of smaller items.
Very natural.
Repelling a vehicle probably would have been a non-starter as well. Almost everything the crew accomplishes in this sequence would repel the average scientist. Number 2. Drifting through the timeline. The Fast and Furious franchise. Although Tokyo Drift is technically the third film in the series, its events were later stated to take place in between the 6th and the 7th films. But that retcon makes watching the Japan set story increasingly bizarre. All of the technology in Tokyo Drift heavily hints that the movie takes place in the mid-2000s.
Hey, I noticed you ain't have a laptop.
Yeah?
I'll hook you up. Half price.
However, Furious 6 had several indications that the characters are living in 2013. This timeline swap was realistically done so we could get more of Han in the movies.
You really gonna do it? Tokyo.
Yeah, it's just something I gotta do.
But since the franchise hasn't introduced time travel yet, the only explanation is that this version of Japan was all about early 2000s fashion and tech. Honestly, it all makes about as much sense as Han's fake death and revival.
I'm just still trying to figure out
How are you still alive?
Number 1. Going to space. F9.
As long as we obey the laws of physics, then we'll be fine, okay? It's just all math and science.
I knew I should have listened to my teachers.
It may be surprising to hear that Tesh and Roman's trip to the stars isn't completely impossible. If their reinforced car could handle the force of the huge rockets it was attached to, the duo could reach space. But other details would get in the way.
If we crash into that satellite, we'll probably die. And even if we don't, the fuel that it would take to smash it, we'd be stuck out here forever.
The extreme temperatures and pressure changes could have been disastrous for them. And if everything had gone right with their car, it's unclear how they would have safely come back to Earth. Although the space sequence reached for the stars, it doesn't entirely hold up against the light of science.
I've been eating space food for weeks.
Oh, so Tootsie Rolls are space food.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from Watch Mojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.